Pride Month, everyone. Welcome to our June 2023 podcast. My name is Wincy Hong, and I am the Communications Coordinator at IHC. I will be the host for today's episode. We have a returning guest today, our very own IHC Fitness Coordinator, Marissa Hemstreet. Hello, Marissa.
Hi, Wincy. So a little bit about me. My name is Marissa Hemstreet. I am from the Canincito Band of Navajos in Tehachapi, New Mexico. I currently live here in San Jose, California, and I'm working on my bachelor's in kinesiology, specializing in rehabilitative science at San Jose State University. I work for a fitness coordinator here at the Indian Health Center of Santa Clara Valley within their Community Wellness and Outreach Department.
Well, thank you so much for making time for our podcast today. For those of you who missed our February 2023 episode, Marissa jumped on the line to talk to us about integrating fitness and healthy choices into the new year. And this month, she is back to talk to us about a very exciting program, Two Spirit Group. So, Marissa, could you share more about this event with our listeners who may not be aware of what it is and may want to attend?
Of course. Two Spirit Group started as an idea within the Indian Health Center's Intertribal Health Council, which is a council of Native employees here at Indian Health Center who meet monthly, and we just talk about different ways for us to better serve our community culturally and, be comprehensive, approaching wellness from all aspects of life. And one of those points of wellness was within the Indigenous Two-Spirit folks and LGBTQIA community, and to see how we can better serve those individuals. Because we had gotten feedback from folks who identify as such or our family members that they didn't really feel like they had support within the Indigenous community. And when they reached out to for queer support, the support that they received was not culturally comprehensive. While it did, accept them for as they were, we wanted to make sure that we bridge those gaps. So myself and Stephanie Reynolds, we are the co-founders of Indian Health Center's Two Spirit Group. And this year, we're meeting every second Friday of the month, 12 to 1 p.m. We may go to 2 p.m. depending on the speaker or the activity. And it's just to serve as a safe place for folks who are, identify as someone from the queer community, Two-Spirit folks, or if they have a family member or a friend and they just want to know how to better be an ally, that's also a safe space for them. But in Two-Spirit Group themselves, we also prioritize Two-Spirit voices over all else. And, everybody does get a chance to share and ask questions. We do make sure that they are a priority for us. On Indian Health Center's website, if you look at our events page, we usually have our upcoming Two Spirit Group event and then some more information about the specific happenings at that event. So this past month in this June, what we did was we had a speaker, Ivy Flores, aka La Bambona Asesina, who is a trans woman and a drag performer, as well as a dancer. And she came in to share a little bit about her experience as a trans woman and just and mental health and other things that she has experienced throughout her life, and to show how that made her the fully fledged human being she is today, and just how wonderful she is. Our events we have like that are always posted on our Facebook, our website, and if you don't have social media, you don't really feel comfortable using the internet, no worries, no pressure there. You are also welcome to call the, I work specifically in our fitness center, so you're going to call our fitness center number at 408-960-0662 and ask for Marissa, and I will give you more info about it. Otherwise, you can message us on Facebook or check out our website.
Very cool. So it seems like there are many different ways that folks can get involved. Why do you believe it is important to have Two Spirit Group?
Because in the queer community, we hear so often the acronym LGBTQ+. Sometimes we hear IA, and those all stand for lesbian, bi, gay, transgender. Plus can be anybody in the queer community, queer questioning. I is intersex, A is asexual. but we don't necessarily really ever see 2S, which would stand for Two Spirit, which would mean like the indigenous representation of that. The term Two Spirit itself is a blanket term that's used for folks in the indigenous community who are quote unquote queer, and queer itself means weird. It just means different from the norm. And I think it's important because we need to have cultural representation prior to colonization of what we know now as America for the folks who inhabited this land before colonization. For myself, I'm from Navajo Nation, and in Navajo Nation, it has been debated whether or not we've had anywhere between 4 to 6 genders. So we had the traditional quote unquote male, we had the traditional female, then we have Dilba, which is the woman who presents herself as man, and then we have Nadlehe or Nadlihe, which is man who presents himself as woman. So in our indigenous cultures, we recognize different genders, different gender identities, sexualities, sexual orientations, and just making sure that we continue to have that representation and not stick solely to our colonistic idea of like what a queer person is. So we're taking space where we rightfully should, and I feel like it's important just to show folks that prior to colonization and that type of thinking, these people existed and these people were here and they are sacred and they will continue to be so as long as I'm here.
That's really amazing. You mentioned a very important point here, which is that we are still here. You all have been here and continue and will continue to be here. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge about this topic. What can folks look forward to in the upcoming months?
Yeah, so with the Indian Help Center, graciously, we've received a bigger budget for this next fiscal year, which will be from July 2023 till June 2024. We actually doubled our budget, so I'm very thankful for that, and to have the agency back up this group and just know that we are a growing group with growing needs, and everything changes. So in this next year, we will be hosting events such as earring making, which we've done before, but we may do it on a bigger scale. And since we are a hybrid event, we do offer the option of our participants who are not either in San Jose or other places that we can mail them the supplies that they would need to partake in that activity, or let them know a list if they are crafty and they might have their own things. We've done that with painting events before, where folks just use like any canvas or paint they have at home, and we do like a paint and talk session. We've also done the earring making. In this next year, we did get a budget to get some sewing machines, so we're going to be doing some sewing activities and crafting. We will continue to have different speakers, guest speakers from the community to come in and just share their experiences, because every person that you meet is a learning experience, and you never know what you might take home with hearing their shared life experience. We will also be able to host events, and I'm very excited. In September, it's what we're aiming for, fingers crossed. Two Spirit Group will be sponsoring our own event called Chosen Family, because again, folks in the queer community or Two Spirit community may not always be readily accepted by their blood relatives, but we are a part of a community where you get to choose your family, choose who you call your brother, your sister, your nibling, meaning non-binary sibling. And we'll be doing that one in September, where we have performers, like drag performers. We'll also have cultural performances as well, and other guest speakers, as well as giveaways for participants who come in and join us for that time being.
Well, it definitely sounds like a very packed year, and I am so excited to see them all come to life. I know that from my own experience attending Two Spirit Group, I have just walked out of the sessions every time just learning so much and truly just so inspired by the guest speakers, and whether that is from the guest speakers or and or the activity that I get to participate in. So I just want to say thank you so much, Marissa, for all that you do for this program. And thank you for always ensuring that folks' voices are not only heard, but ensure that they are listened to. I know that I greatly appreciate these programs, and I hope that they continue for as long as possible. So, any last things that you believe the listeners here should know about Two Spirit Group?
Yeah, just that again, we prioritize two spirit voices, and we just like to remind folks that just because, just as anybody else, how I would approach anyone else in the community, if they let me know, like, hey, I'm lesbian, I wouldn't readily assume that their pronouns are she, her, because I don't know what exactly their gender identity is. Lesbian only it reiterates their sexual orientation. So when folks say, hi, I'm Two Spirit, I would not assume either their sexual orientation or their gender identity, because the term Two Spirit can be used for either one, which is interesting and unique about that term. Like for myself, I do have a male partner, so in the eyes of society, I would be heterosexual. And I use the term Two Spirit in terms of my gender identity, which is how I present myself. So just being mindful of that and not assuming either one's identity or their sexuality based on whatever terminology they use to describe themselves, because people are their own writers of themselves. They choose what you get to know about them, and just don't assume, approach all with compassion and humility. And if they feel comfortable enough to share those things with you, then make space for that. But don't pressure folks, and again, try not to assume.
Yes, I totally think that is so important to wrap us up. So, thank you so much, Marissa, for sharing your knowledge and for making time for this very important conversation. And I also want to note for the listeners here, it has truly been an honor being your host and starting this series in the 2023 year. I am so thankful for this creative outlet. I've been able to speak with some really amazing guest speakers here, such as Marissa, who do really amazing work in the community. This will be my last podcast episode, and I will be transitioning out of my role as communications coordinator. My last day here will be Friday, June 16th, 2023. So, although I will be leaving, the podcast will remain. If you missed an episode, this is the perfect time to catch up via Spotify and YouTube. Also, if you would like to learn more about IHC and our many services, as well as many programs such as Two Spirit Group, check out our website at www.indianhealthcenter.org. I'm wishing you all the best and continued success, but for now, I am signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone.